I've done it, Dad. I've done it.
What is it now, Con?
My law degree. I've got it.
Oh, thank God for that. I was beginning to think you were wasting your time.
And not only you, Dad. Oh, I know. All the little jokes they were making. There's Con Morton off to London for his annual shot. The only lawyer to see all the laws he was studying repealed by the time he finally passed.
No need to get bitter, Con. You'll bring up the rash on your neck again.
I've never put myself first. And there have been times when I could have behaved selfishly. In this very room, 3 girls have sat at my side, courting.
Yes, well, that's true enough. Nearly drove Ozzy mad. He couldn't get to the piano. But you've done well, Con. And we're grateful to you. Miriam, me, and the boys.
I did it for Mam, mostly.
A lovely woman. Organised 2 soup kitchens for the needy.
Made 3 coal owners cry when she sang Abide With Me at the memorial concert to the explosion victims.
A fine woman.
Dead now.
Dead for a long time.
Except what we do for love of her.
Yes, and that's been a lot in your case, Con.
Well, I wonder, has it been appreciated?
Oh, what do you mean, Con? Appreciated?
My own brothers. I think they've done as much quiet jeering at me as anybody.
No.
Yes. When I could have been sitting jocosely at home, getting this degree of mine 10 years before I did, or bringing one of those love affairs to a bit of warm fruition. What was I doing? Circulating like a wireworm through every articulate group in the country, drowning in beer at the rugby club when everyone knows a sipped brandy is the drink of my heart. But with plenty of water, Dad, as you know. If I could put in a good persuasive word for the Mortons and for the memory of Mam, that was my reward. Would old Dr. Edmonds have taken our Wallace into partnership if it hadn't been for me?
No.
He would not. When Dr. Edmonds had his driving license suspended for driving backwards faster than he ever drove forward, who drove him home from the Constitutional Club 3 times a week during Wallace's medical training?
You did, Con. You got Wallace that partnership. Now, don't let your dinner get cold.
I'll have it later, Miriam, thank you. Who took the manuscript of Russell's novel up to London in 1939 and had it published? When Russ would have burnt or buried it.
You did, Con, and if you hadn't been ramming a point home every day for nearly 20 years, Russ might have written another. And you got Russell a job in the dingiest school this side of the catacombs. And you got Alvin kept on at the Belmont tin plate when a few other dozen put-ups was getting the push. And you got Ozzy, the conductor's baton of the Belmont male voice. And the poor chap's been sipping nerve tonic and giving us the beat at meal times ever since.
Miriam...
And you've been turning this house into a building site just before Christmas.
Miriam, please.
I know. But I have the feeling that one day you're going to turn all this into an oratorio and get it produced out of the rates. Now, about that meal, you can dawdle as long as you like. It's gone to coke. Right. Now I can say what I want in peace. You know, Dad, if this news about my law degree hadn't come today, I think I would have gone and jumped in the lake. The municipal lake. The lake I led the fight for in 1932.
Why, I don't think so. No, I can't see a boy like you getting wet in public, not in the park.
Yes, I would have. Because a man gets weary, Dad.
You should have stuck with that course of Brewers East that Miriam was giving you. You're on edge, boy.
Oh, I'm all right now.
This will be a big thing for you, Con. A wig and a robe, and putting the fear of hell into the sinful. You'll make a fine judge, but I wouldn't like you to be a hanging judge.
I don't want to be a judge. Everything I want is here, in Belmont, in this town. Mr. Leighton Lewis, the town clerk, is retiring in December, and I'm going to be a successor.
You, Con?
Me. I've told that to a lot of people down the town hall, and they've just sniggered. Well, they knew. I had to have this in my pocket before I even apply. And now I've got it. It was delivered to the town hall at 11:30 this morning.
Second post.
News I'd been waiting 15 years for. I've just come out of a session about refuse disposal with Mr. Leighton Lewis. And, Dad, I went down on my knees to thank God.
A good idea, Con. Be on the safe side.
I'm putting on a second lot of chips if you're interested.
I stand ready to tread the last few yards that separate me from Sinai. And someone asks me a question about chips.
Oh.
Not a word about this yet to the boys. But they also stand, each and every one of them, on the brink of their greatest moment.
Well, they've been pretty miserable lately. They need cheering up.
At this moment, I need them all confident and smiling and happy behind me. The Mortons, for Mam's sake, got to close ranks. I've got 3 or 4 sharpish calls to make tonight.
Right-o.
They will bring great thunder to this front room, Dad, if my luck holds. Keep your fingers crossed. Hello, Russ. See you later, boy.
You eating, Russ?
Couple of biscuits and a cup of tea, me, no hurry.
Chops and chips in there, boy. Sustain yourself.
What's Con so chirpy about?
What? No, Con.
That's the trouble.
Full of dreams and schemes, as usual.
Building our lives. Rebuilding this house. The place is a tip.
Oh, back up, Russ. I mean, you know Con has never had a thought that wasn't for the town or his brothers. Ah, that'll be Wallace, back from the surgery. Hello, Wallace.
How's it going? Well, that surgery. A spring broke loose from the couch.
For 2 years, I've asked him to provide a new one. He says the welfare state has pampered enough people into decadence.
You can give people too much, Wallace, you know that. People are getting far too much. And I know. When I was a kid of 12, I was down under, in the pit. Doorboy, in the old steam corps. Hear the tram, open the door. I was afraid to open my food passer. The rats would be up on my lap, bold as brass. Terrors for bacon, rats. In winter, I never saw the light of day.
There's still some Eskimos in the same fix.
Are you laughing at me?
Now then, you two. Here we are. Wallace. There's yours. And this is your fancy Russell. Tongue and tomato chutney.
Now then, Miriam, get off your legs for a couple of minutes and sit here.
Just like a mum, always in the bustle, always ready to serve, never gets tired. Dear Miriam.
No, never. I just feel as though my back is breaking at times. But Con says that's due to lack of calcium in the tap water. He's urging the council to do something about it. They're going to put some stuff in the reservoir. He'll have us rigid as guardsmen in no time at all.
Here you are, Dad. Just as you like it. Dark and joyless as your father's philosophy.
If there'd been a divining rod for joy, it would have split at the middle at the sight of Grant.
He came from a hard time. He needed a faith.
Oh, he overdid it. He wore his black serge like a second skeleton.
He used to drag me upstairs to watch funerals from the front window. They used to sing as they marched in those days.
Took the sting and the shame out of death to those hymns. The dead would never feel as alone then as they must do now.
It was terrifying. He used to sit there at the front bedroom window, and he could tell exactly the status of the funeral from the quality of the hats and suits. And he could tell the exact amount of cold ham that would be served at the funeral tea. This will be a 2-slicer, he would say.
I bet Mum hated him.
What did you say?
I bet Mum hated him. He would have depressed a corgi.
Do you realize who you're talking about? You're talking about my father, one of the 3 survivors of the explosion of 1896. A man who dug the foundation of Moab Chapel with his own bare hands in gratitude for his deliverance. Well, I never thought I'd hear a child of mine say a spiteful thing about her grandfather.
If he could have found a Bible big enough, he'd have had us inside drying like rose leaves.
He felt it was his duty to be like that. It was a time when I failed you as a father. It was a time when I was wild and dissolute.
Oh, take it easy, Dad. You took a few drinks. Why not?
That wasn't all. Wallace, that wasn't all.
But what else could there be in West Wales? Women?
Lust, my boy, has never been a problem with me. Whenever I felt anything of that nature stirring, one look at my catalogue would send me straight back to January. Not since I heard the Reverend Morris, the missionary, explain what happened to the more incontinent lechers of Borneo has sex been a serious nuisance to me.
What does happen to her?
Well, never mind about Borneo. What happened to you, Dad? Well, tell us. Comes out. You can talk freely. All right. It's for Con's sake and Dad's sake I'm going to tell you this. Nobody will ever know how near I came to perdition. I was in a town in West Wales. There'd been a revival. The town was humming with the joy of salvation. The revivalist had a stroke. Died right there, in the pulpit. It was late autumn. The town was sad and flat. It had lost its resistance to the flu epidemic that had been raging at that time. Hundreds died. Well, it was a boom time for headstones of every shape and size. I filled in 2 order books, wore out 3 catalogues in a month. I mean, it was a tremendous period for Morgan the Mason. He put on extra men. He put 2 quarries on double time. It nearly ruined him.
What did?
I spent all the deposits. Yes, it was a kind of madness that came over me. I'd been home just before. Mum was fierce with me because I hadn't been sending any money home. She had to crawl to Grandfather for money for your bread.
And what was the end of all that?
When Morgan found out about the deposits, he threatened to put the law in motion unless he was repaid. I caused more confusion in graveyards west of Neath than death itself. Well, it was Con and your grandfather who were my saviors.
Con?
Yes, Con. He was young, but he had the same drive then as he's got now. He persuaded Grandfather to settle with Morgan the Mason. Then he got me a job collecting the rates. So never let me hear you sneer against Con or your grandfather.
I wasn't sneering. I'm just saying that he wore his hair shirt so long he nearly tickled a lot of us to death. Especially Mum. He hawks that lovely voice of hers round too many vestries, singing songs praising death. One night, she turned to me and she said she wished he or she was dead.
No, you must have misheard her, Miriam. There was a great love between them. I can see it now. Mama just got that telegram telling her that her sister Gweno was dying in Wilkes-Barre in America. As she left this house for the last time, a journey that was to end in her death in that rail crash in Philadelphia, she took my hands as she leaned out of the window of the train. She gave me her warmest smile, and she said, "Ben," she said, "Ben, I can't thank your father enough. First, for keeping the children alive, and now this ticket to see my sister on her deathbed." Poor Dynamite. 1 of 10 unidentified bodies lying there, so silent and so far away.
What happened to the sister?
Got better quick as a flash when she heard the news about Dynamite. Yeah, well, I suppose I'd better go and get my glass of Epsom salts in lukewarm water. The queen of harsh laxatives, as your great partner, Dr. Edmonds, always tells me.
The great Dr. Edmonds. I just left the old wreck at the Constitutional Club, crouched over the snooker table, wondering whether to pot or operate.
He's getting on your nerves.
He is my nerves, and he's shaky.
What's to do? 5 brothers, 1 sister. Not stupid, not repellent, but held together like a dumb constellation in the sky. Not one of us married. Now, why should that be?
Apathy, indolence, a slightly subnormal sexual beat, quality of Miriam's cooking, sheer accident.
Do you remember how my novel ended?
Mum going to America.
The train out of Belmont was at 12.
Our bags were waiting in the kitchen. And she said, "Let's all go into the front room and sing for the last time." Ozzy was at the piano. We sang that old American revivalist song, "Flee as a Bird." Grange was crying because the song had vague religious affiliations. Then Mam went to the door.
And she said, don't move. Stay just like that. I want to take away the sight and sound of you, just like that. And I can never get beyond that point.
Somebody's cast a spell on a lot of us.
So long, boss.
What? Have you got any of those nerve powders you gave me last week?
What, head still bad?
Head, hands, feet. I got the shakes.
Get you a fresh load. Keep it till Christmas.
Oh, Ozzy. I can't take any more of this. It's affecting my work. 2 years ago, I awarded the Trevedic Medal for the coolest ticket collector in the region. Yes. But now, I take minutes. And I'm so much on edge. Only this morning, I accused 2 travellers of inventing place names just to torment me.
You overdid pride. You shuffled those tickets like a card sharp. You were bound to start foxing yourself sooner or later. Now have 2 fingers of tonic wine.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's better than the parsnip wine we had last Christmas. Oh, that con. It's done for me. Honest, he has. I was there, the worst second tenor in the Belmont Male Voice Choir. I was happy putting in my little note from time to time. Then Con comes along, takes over the committee, rigs a meeting where they're choosing a new conductor. The obvious choice is Caradoc Slee.
Top notch. Conducts himself as he talks.
But the baton goes to me. And Slee goes back to my old place among the second tenors. I say that for Caradoc. No pride. The proper modesty of a true chorister.
Don't debase yourself, Ozzy. Honest, there are times when you are a slug.
Oh,
Miriam's right, Oz. You've got to learn to sneer right back at life.
How is Caradoc these days?
very strange.
Oh, he always was.
He was all right until he broke off his engagement to you.
That little affair broke down at about the same time as Caerphilly Castle.
He was all right until then. Then Con gets talking to him, persuades him it would break Caradoc's mother's heart if he gets married.
Con? Did he do that?
I bet he did. He's at it all the time, that Con. Shaping life, giving it orders, adjusting its buttons every whip stitch. Now Caradoc, he just stands there among the second tenors carrying these two griefs.
How's Caradoc's hair on top these days?
Oh, it's got about 3 months to go.
If you don't stop this persecution mania about Con, you'll end up ordering yourself a mental truss.
I was wondering.
Wondering what?
Oh, I can get promotion if I'm willing to move to Swindon.
Swindon?
That'll make a difference to my pension. Oh. And it might keep me sane for a year or two longer. What's up, Alvin?
The company are putting 40 people off the week after Christmas.
Oh.
Thanks, Miriam. I'll have to tell them tomorrow in the works. We're in real trouble.
Trouble? What's this? What's this?
The world wants less tin.
Well, you should hear Con about this tin plate. He's well in with this Mrs. Luma Backway, who owns the works, you know. I think she fancies our Con, does this Mrs. Luma Backway? Don't worry, Alvin. Con will see you all right. He's well in where it counts.
I don't want him to see me all right. That damned Con. He's invented the lot of us.
Quite right. Sorry, Dad, but Alvin's right.
We could stay here another 20 years. The raw material of some horny dream of cons. We've all got other places to be. Is that right about the promotion I heard they was offering you in Swindon, Oz?
That's right. But Swindon?
Never mind about Swindon. Promotion is a city in itself. And that conducting in the choir is making you a nervous wreck anyway. How are you, Russ? How are you fixed up, boy?
All right. Johnny Hargreaves, 3 doors down. He's got a headship in London now. I'd try there, I think. What about you, Alvin? Will you hang about here for a bit?
No, no. From now on, one tin plate works after another will close. I don't want to see it. I'm off to Birmingham. You remember Hughie Pugh? Son of that chemist, Pugh the Purge? Yeah. Hughie's got his own welding works in Birmingham now. He wants me to go and join him.
London, Birmingham, Swindon. Sounds like the beginning of a poem on dissolution. What about you, Miriam?
Me? Oh, I've got me my new electric washer, and I've got my new wireless, my new rimless spectacles to slip on in the dark to read my Bible, and my new dark dress to wear the next time I sing I know that my Redeemer liveth in the next quarterly meeting in Moab. What else is there?
The moss has got into you, Miriam. You've got vestry poisoning, like Dad. And this room is poison too.
How dare you say that?
Keep it for the pensioners I stead for, Dad.
Go you, you'd have the shock of your lives, you bigger hypocrites than Con. At least he shines a light when he shuffles round so you can duck, but you are a lot of cunning cripples. You stayed in the old home because of Mam, because of Con, because of me. Let me tell you why you stayed. Because you would never have had it so easy anywhere else. God, what a lot of moaners you've been. You, Russell, with your school and your lost genius. And you, Ozzy, with your ticket office and your choir. And you, Alvin, with your tin plate works, signalling the red dawn every time some clumsy clown in that ramshackle dump drops something on himself and breaks a toe. You'll never leave here. You're part of the walls, like me. You've got nowhere else to go. Oh, you'll pack your bags, you'll get as far as the station. You'll have the male voice party to give you a round of anthems to blow you the last few yards onto the train. And then you'll think of this front room, the singing round the piano, this nice cotton wool shell of a world. Best rehearsal for death there is. And then you'll remember that I am the only woman in the world that doesn't scare you to the devil. And last, you'll remember my steak and kidney pies, my chips, my broth, my unbeaten 24-hour service. And you'll come running back here faster than greyhounds.
You're wrong, Miriam. This moment was bound to come. We've been putting off the decision from year to year.
Miriam is right, boys. You can't go. Not now.
What's so special about now, Dad?
I'll tell you what's happened. What has Con wanted for a long time?
To run us and to run Belmont. He's done it.
To court a wealthy widow who's an alderman. He's done it.
You tell. Down. You know.
Yes, I know, Dad. Con wanted to be town clerk. He wanted to see his name at the bottom of those notices about elections and foot and mouth disease.
And why hasn't he been able to put in for the job of town clerk?
Because he kept failing his exams.
Well, that is no longer so. He heard this morning. Con is a lawyer now. He's passed, flying.
That's all?
That is so. Aren't you glad?
Yes, Dad. We are glad. We're very glad. For Con's sake, for the law's sake, for the examiner's sake. We'll save a lot of ulcers all round.
Well, you can't go. I mean, not now that you know.
Why not?
Well, this is the last mile of the road for Con. This is something he's been fighting for years, to make flesh of his dreams, and your dreams.
A dream edited by Con would be anybody else's nightmare. Con can go to the summit alone, like Moses.
I'll never forgive you for this. That doesn't move you, does it?
No.
I've led a foolish life, I know. And this is the last installment that I have to pay. I've lost your respect.
Don't make a tract of it, Dad.
Well, if I can't appeal to you, can she?
Oh, don't try to argue. This is autumn. The tree is stripping off. We've warmed our bellies next to Miriam's stove and become bits of ivy on Con's lusty oak. We've done our duty. We've kept the family name in front of the public long enough for Con to use it as a kind of singing commercial.
That's mean, Russell. Mean.
Of course it's mean. A man owes it to himself to do at least one astonishingly mean thing before he hits the box. Oh, thank you, Miriam.
It's settled then. The exodus is underway. Let's get busy.
What's all this?
The family is breaking up, Wal. Russ is going to teach in London. Ozzy's taking a promotion in Swindon and breaking his baton over Con's head. And I'm dodging out of the tin plate before the roof falls in. I'm off to Birmingham.
Well, isn't that queer?
Well, what's queer about it? We couldn't have stuck it out like this for the rest of our lives.
Well, I know that, Alvin. What's queer is, in the Bannerman Club just now, I got a phone call from London. It was Jackie Bennett.
Jackie Bennett, the doctor? He's in South Africa.
Oh, he's back on a short holiday. He's in London now from his practice in Pretoria. It's getting too big for him. Wants me to go up to South Africa House tomorrow and arrange to join him.
You go in?
Well, I've no wish to stay loyal to this place and wind up a subordinate figure in old Doc Edmund's last delirium.
As Grant would have said, the Lord hath spoken.
Seems like it. Let's have a drink. And propose a toast worth giving. I was going to keep this for Miriam's birthday. Let's drink to the Exodus. The Great Dispersal. Yakida!
What's the matter?
We were drinking a toast.
Oh, to me? Dad told you about my law degree. He shouldn't have told you. Thanks anyway for making such a fuss. A toast from my brothers. That makes this night the biggest night of my life.
It wasn't true, you Con. If you came into the toast at all, it was very obliquely.
These fools are leaving their home.
Leaving home? This is one of Alvin's daft little practical jokes, eh?
I gave those up when I started doing committee work for the union.
They're going, all right. London, Africa, Swindon, and worst of all, Birmingham.
More room for you now, Con. You can branch out. And when you go up to London on important big business, I'll wave to you at Swindon. Makes a difference there, a wave.
They have a date with light and life. Oh, let them go, eh? How do you like your chips these days, Alvin?
Chips, pale and soft, like always.
Oh, right, that'll take a bit longer. I've thought a lot about chips. A man's soul needs an anchor of potato. Yeah.
We'll drink to you now, Con. To the day you acquire enough power to stop yourself twitching.
Ooh. Now, let's stop these nursery games. But I was shaken for a moment when I heard Dad saying those things. You know, it's a kind of nightmare I've often had. Tired, coming back from a long session at the town hall, I suddenly start sweating. And I break into a run until I got to the door, the front door of our castle, our fortress.
Yes, yes, our castle. Our fortress. You hear that?
I hear it.
And do you know what it was that I was always afraid of?
I could name 1,000 things.
Not that I'd find Miriam or one of you dead, but that you'd all be waiting here to tell me that you were going, just like you did tonight. Now, let's drink that toast. A real one. To the United Mortons. Well, what's the matter? Got cramp or something?
No, quite sprightly.
What we said wasn't a joke, Con. We're on our way.
Pretoria.
Swindon.
Birmingham.
London.
You tell me this tonight, of all nights? The most tremendous and fertile evening of my life? I've been talking my tongue right down to the canvas for you.
And we've done our whack for you. To get you into the town clerk's chair. All right, have it. Fill it. Keep it.
This is it, Con. A do-it.
No. You've got to listen to what I have to say, what I've done tonight.
I vote we all go back down to the Bannerman Club before Con gets in his oratorical stride.
Be nice to have you at a safe distance, Con.
Do you mind?
Mind what, Con?
Mind if I make one of the most important statements of my life?
Oh, no. You go ahead, boy.
You don't like me, do you?
Oh, for God's sake. You're not a kid anymore. What do you want to be liked for?
All right, forgive me asking. I'm going to tell you about it today. I want us to talk like we did when we were kids. Without barriers, without distrust.
Watch the forks.
I've been selfish. But today, tonight, these last couple of hours, I've talked, bullied, connived without a single thought for myself. I suppose you know I passed my final law exam.
And we were glad about that, Con. Genuinely glad. Now, tell us about this moment of illumination, this selflessness.
I want no illumination. I want the conviction and warmth of this family. I want this cloak of brothers around my body.
Right. You've softened us up. Now unveil the tablets.
I'll start with you, Alvin.
Good.
You feel desperate about the tin plate works, don't you?
I do.
I talked with Mrs. Luma Barkway tonight.
Well, that's a fragrant remark.
You know who she is?
Yes, I know. She's rich, she's stupid, and she's a snob. She had a picture once in Vogue as a fancy dresser, and 200 times in the Western Mail as a torpid thinker.
She's also my friend.
You're doing well, Con.
Without the Luma Barkways, this country would still be a cabbage patch. Coal, iron, steel ships. At the helm of each one, you will find a Luma Barkway.
There was also a brand of rickets named after during the slump.
There's a slander.
I can imagine you working up a fair heat over the agenda, but not over the widow of a tycoon.
Heat, as you called it, didn't enter into it. Colonel Luma Barkway discouraged sex. You will change your mind about her before the night is out, my boy.
Not without shock treatment, I won't.
We talked about you tonight, Alvin. She wants to show her appreciation of the way you've worked on behalf of the older workers.
She's going to suspend the sack-ins.
Forget the sackings. That's policy. That's her policy. It's government policy. It's God's policy. What we're talking about, Alvin, is you. You, my brother. She's going to make you assistant manager. You.
Me?
£18 a week and a lot of nice, clean office work to keep you out of the rolling mill. You can give up your union work as well. You've moaned about it, and you've complained about how the unions are the only vehicles with square wheels ever to try to take the workers up to paradise. Well, now you can board your own little wagon and stay nice and quiet.
And what kind of perfume does that sprinkle me with?
Perfume? What are you talking about? Perfume?
You want me to take the job of assistant manager so that I'll stand aside and watch a whole platoon of my comrades walk industrially into the grave without so much as a stroke on the drum from me?
If humanity had choked most of its drummers at birth, we would have walked more neatly in step.
Nothing doing. Tell Mrs. Luma Barkway we made a few principles in those works, as well as tin plate.
All right. All right, Alvin. Full marks for a rousing speech. Now listen. That's a new art, you know. Just listening. Nothing can stop these people getting the sack next week. The best economic brains of the land have decided that a little controlled unemployment is the only magnesia that will get rid of our current flatulence.
Fair enough, if it doesn't interfere with local values.
On top of government directives, Mrs. Luma Barkway is the Moses on this cyanide, and she wants the tin plate works to shrink. Now, we've got to be clever, Alvin. We've got to be cunning.
Slip on your second pair of braces, Alvin. Someone's after your button.
Ignore these poets, Alvin. I've got answers for them, too. Now, you want to see the works saved, don't you?
I want to see change geared to the needs of the people.
I'm with you there, boy, all the way. The past has got to be taken off cautiously. Never, never let it be a shroud.
A good axiom.
There are two things to be done. There's someone who's got to stay at the Tinplate Works with enough faith in its future to see that it keeps in being. We've got to triple the local demand for tinplate. To hell with exports. We've got to hold the line. Keep the works breathing. Principles should be like skirts, up or down according to the moral atmosphere of what a man wants at a particular moment.
I'll think about it.
That's it, boy. That's the spirit. Creative doubt.
Don't say any more. I'm trying to persuade myself. It's hard.
Yes, yes, of course it is. But you can forget about that train to Birmingham, eh?
No doubt you're coming down the chimney with packages for us, too.
For you both. The package of his dreams. You, Wallace. I know Dr. Edmonds has been driving you crazy. You overdid the kindliness. You've doubled his income and halved his work. You gave him the free time to preserve his mind in snooker and his body in scotch. And that notion of going to Africa is a poor one.
Look, Con. I've travelled the full distance here. I can't take any more of it.
Most of us have lived lives against the grain, Wallace. But we always get at least a part of what we dream of.
Con, you're the only man who could write a report on municipal sewage and a Christmas cracker motto simultaneously.
You've got vision, Wallace. Given a chance, your dreams might blaze again.
Leave them in peace.
I won't leave anything in peace. That's my function. To put things on edge. A sharp edge. Yesterday, Mrs. Luma Barkway was elected chairman of the County Health Committee.
Oh, that's a big step forward. Her first big economic drive will be to replace X-ray with hearsay.
She's more enlightened than you think. She's already settled in her mind who the next county medical officer will be.
Me?
You. And without much delay. You can start doing all those things that you and Russ have thought about and talked about for years. Start from the social bottom. Get rid of all the old sores and imbecilities. Give a new dignity and eloquence to all the people of this region.
From Bessemer Road, secondary modern.
You won't be at Bessemer Road Secondary Modern much longer, Russ.
I know that. I'll either be in London, or I may decide to sell candy floss in Porthcawl.
You won't be at either place.
Is all the port wine gone?
No, there's another bottle left.
Let's have it. When Con's in this mood, my despair becomes as tangible as dandruff.
I never thought to hear a word like despair in this room. I've got something better than wine. Now, I don't want to sound like Moses.
You will, don't worry.
But I'm leading you two boys onto the hilltop from which your promised land will be, for the first time, visible. You remember us? One Sunday afternoon, you and I went for a walk over Belmont Mountain. We stopped to look at the Luma Barkway mansion. Do you remember what I said?
You said Edward VII slept there twice.
That I thought that house would be ideal as a school for those kids who can't think for the fumes in that school you teach in now.
No, you might have said that. You said a lot.
Yesterday, Mrs. Luma Barkway gave that mansion to the county council. And it is going to become just the kind of school that you envisioned. And you are going to be its first headmaster.
Can you hear someone stitching a web?
No web. Just glory and liberation for you all. What becomes of me is of no moment.
What have you got for Oswald?
For Ozzy too, I have my gift.
Oh, no. Please, Con. Leave me alone. I don't want anything. I'll just shuffle off to Swindon. And I'll hand the baton of the quiet to Grad Oxley.
Nonsense, Oz. You've got to be saved from yourself.
What is it, then? But make it small, Con. Make it humble. Make it private.
It is a gift of triumph, Oz.
Oh, God.
A gift of a triumph. Something that will lift you clear out of the rut of your own self-contempt.
There's no winch big enough for that.
Have you heard of Cosmo Jocelyn?
Oh, Cosmo the TV, local boy. Did brilliantly at Oxford.
A genius, and rapidly emerging as Britain's television premier producer.
What's the link? Have you bought in for Aussie?
Cosmo has been asked to produce the first live telecast from this country to Canada. He wanted to know the item that would best convey the soul of this region. I suggested the Belmont Orpheans. We were at your rehearsal last Wednesday, Oz. Cosmo was fascinated by Ozzy. His own word, fascinated. The humble artist, the unpretentious dreamer. It'll be a 5-minute slot, and the emphasis will not be on the singing, but on the face and body of Ozzy.
It'll be your moment, Oz.
But I die. I haven't got the sort of gestures.
That's what he's after. Jocelyn wants to be the first producer to show an all-male party with an utterly senseless conductor.
There'll be no dying. There'll be no dying.
Who's the cardigan for, Miriam?
Oh, it's not a cardigan, it's a 2-ply balaclava to muffle life.
Experience of your life.
Oh, he's found your woman, Oz.
If he has, take it easy, boy. Take it slow. I've seen a lot of you late developers burn themselves out.
I don't like this bold talk about women. Not here, in the front room.
John wouldn't be thinking anything like that. I know sex has got its place, and it's inspired many fine choir pieces, but I don't fancy it much myself.
You prefer a nice bit of hay, couldn't you, Oz?
I fancy warm fish. It's my fancy any time.
Haven't you got the gumption to realise that I am on the verge of... That'll be Mr. Wilmot.
Wilmot?
The way.
The chief deacon of Tabernacle. What are they up to? Oh, he and Con are planning something.
Please.
Thank you.
May I?
Yes. Mr. Wilmot.
Good evening, Mr. Morton.
Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't that just lovely?
What does it say, Oz?
It says, to a mother of sons, erected on the wall of the chapel she attended through her life by Alvin, Constantine, Russell, Oswald and Wallace Mortar.
Oh, no daughter. What do I do? Leave on the next plaque?
Your monument is us, Miriam.
Oh, fair enough. Find me a stretch of wall and I'll hang you up on it.
What's this for?
It's a plaque. A memorial plaque.
Yes, I know that. I mean, what's the point of it? This sort of gesture should be in the mind, not hung up on walls.
My love for Mum and you cannot be confined here. It's got to be expressed in acts. The memory of that wonderful woman is as alive to me today as when she left this house 15 years ago.
Best teak. Top price. Luminous paint shows in the dark just right for you.
Yeah, too true. Always read plaques in the dark.
Honest, Con, with your lack of taste, you could have been a leader of nations.
Will this thing be hung up somewhere?
Of course.
Where?
In the chapel where it says.
You cannot be furtive about a thing like this, Alvin.
You could be, but you won't be.
And it'll be unveiled, like a cenotaph.
A curtain, cords, the lot.
Purple curtain, satin cord.
No point in spoiling the ship for a pennyworth of tar. There's no beauty without a bit of ceremony.
Trumpets?
Not in a place of worship, too blaring.
No, very harsh trumpets.
And who'll do the unveiling?
Our mayor, Mr. Wyndham Smiley.
Him?
He's a member of the chapel and just the man for the job.
A prince of the prayer meeting. A voice of gold. And on a line of genuine communication with God.
He'd have sold his own mother if his father hadn't beaten him to it.
And he will also have the casting vote in the appointment of the next town clerk.
Now, I've given you warning of that. Have your malicious thoughts. But let no one dare, no one, I say, let no one dare suggest that I would ever use my love for Mum as a tactic, a device. The plaque will be unveiled 4 weeks tomorrow. And the night before the unveiling, we are going to have a little celebration.
it is ready. Biggest thing since Babylon.
It's looking a treat, Miriam. Oh, but the bottles of wine, they are, I suppose, all tonic wines?
Well, they're weak and they're cheap, if that's what you mean. You won't see Mr. Wilmot leaping across the table at Mrs. Luma Barkway.
Oh, she is coming, then.
Last I heard.
I took a bit of that chicken.
You feeling all right, Dos?
Fine. That Mr. Cosmo Jocelyn, the TV, has given me a lot of confidence. He showed me a little clip of film he made of me. I look really nice.
No vanity, Oswald, no vanity. It can lead you to wanton boldness.
Oh, I hope so. I just stand in front of the choir now. Eyes closed. Hands hardly moving. Just inviting them to follow the throb of my spirit, as Mr. Cosmo Jocelyn said.
Do they follow?
Softly, but they're there.
Oh, do.
Do you know what Mr. Cosmo Jocelyn says I'd be ideal at?
No.
Handling my baton in front of a large girls' choir. He says my voice has got a kind of subdued maturity, a kind of waiting passion that would provide the perfect visual balance to about 80 singing virgins.
You were better off as a nervous wreck.
Oz, if you'd like to slip off your crown and slip on an apron, you could give me a hand with these coffee cups.
Yeah, nothing like an apron to restore a man to dignity and reason. Miriam, do you have the feeling that something is going to happen?
Yes, shortly. 20 people are going to walk into this house.
No, I mean something bad. Whenever this part of my scalp itches, I had it just before Mum died.
You've got an itching scalp, that's all. Everything's fine. The Con is in charge. We are on the Hallelujah train.
What's this?
Brandy. For the last toast to Mum.
Anything wrong? Go on.
Everything. Everything. Fools. The perfidious fools. Tricked, trapped, sent headlong. They'll skin me when I tell them.
Tell who? Tell who? What?
Wallace, Russ, Oz. Get some glasses from the cabinet, Dan. We'll have a little tot apiece to keep our minds from falling apart.
Best brandy. It's bad stuff gone. I haven't touched a drop since I was with the gravestones down west.
Get the glasses.
Yes.
You should have stayed there, down in the west, with the singing and drinking and the enjoying of death. I'm sorry for what's happened to you, Dad. But there's nobody in the whole world to be sorry for what's happened to me. I can see their faces now. And Alvin, Russell, Wallace. A hard pair, those. That skinned me alive.
And Oswald, putting on a side I've never seen with the boy before, and conducting himself in the mirror, talking openly of virgins.
Oh. We were climbing so fine. And someone took away my hand. Then the old tree.
Who dare do that to you, Con?
To Mrs. Luma Barkway. Grandiose bitch. Oh, what a willing pointer dog I've been for her. The only huntress ever to use the same tool for shooting and retrieving. Every single net of mine was fouled on her.
What have you been up to, Con?
A fishing reference that... Don't follow my words too closely. Just watch out for the implications.
Yes, all right, Con.
That mansion she was going to donate as a school decided at the last moment to hang on to it as a private reserve.
So there goes Russell's school.
There it goes. And as for the medical officer's job, she decided to get into the mayor's good books. She found out that he has a nephew practicing medicine in Kenya. And he's coming home in a month or two.
But she's going to leave Ozzy alone. I mean, she wouldn't torpedo Ozzy's chances of the TV.
Oh, yes, she would. She got hold of Cosmo Jocelyn and told him that the idea of a male voice party was a bore.
She told Cosmo Jocelyn that?
Right in his ear. He's cancelled Ozzy's choir. And he's going to have the band of girl pipers from Birchtown.
Very noisy, those pipers.
Beyond noisy. The fruits of an utterly mixed marriage. Welsh costume, Scottish pipes. Canada will think we've shaken our last screw loose when she sees that lot.
Yes, well, this Cosmo Jocelyn is out to down the Celt. What Edward the First started, the Cosmo Jocelyn is going to finish.
Just when I was beginning to find an answer to these things, Alvin at a pop-up.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, it's a pity about Alvin. I mean, there he was for the first few weeks. Assistant manager at the tin plate. I mean, quiet as a lamb. And wonderfully sad and melancholy about mankind. I mean, as a man should be, if he wants to get on.
Then Wallace had to fetch him those hallelujah pills. Those supertonic tablets that have been known to get people hopping back from the tomb.
Oh, he was hopping, all right.
He was, and all. Every single metal worker in that place will be downing tools on Monday of next week. He even supported that little strike of council gravediggers who wanted 10% price when they struck rock in the Black Meadow.
Yes, well, Alvin is the bottom of everything. I mean, he urged those gravediggers to leave those dead bodies hanging about. First they closed the doors of heaven, and now you can't even get into Black Meadow.
No. No. It wasn't Alvin. Not altogether. It was me, too. You don't know yet what I did. Have another brandy, Dad.
No, can't thank you. No, I've had 2 big ones already, and it's only because you're causing so much sadness that I'm getting very warm. And...
Be mad, Dad. This is Liquidation Tuesday. Dad, there are 2 types of people who defile the human race.
Name them, Con. Denounce them.
People who default on the payment of their rates and sneer at local government. That's one lot.
Harry them, Con. Give them no peace. Who are the other lot?
People who are intemperate in their sexual feelings. I was up there in the mansion the night with Mrs. Luma Barkway. We were drinking sherry. Between that and the fire, it was warm. We were happy, laughing. I watched her mouth as she spoke. It grew warm.
You should have kept your eyes on the glass, Con. Anything but the mouths of women.
Then we talked about her plans for me when I had the town clerk's office. She was wearing a gown of crimson velvet. That velvet was wrong for me. The sight of the stuff sets gongs throbbing in my head. I was drawn into daring. I felt I had the world on my shoulder. Snug like a fiddle tuned and ready to play.
It's then that you got to watch.
I bent over her in what I thought to be the real Valentino style.
A bad model. He wasn't hindered by the chapels. We make love with a chapel hanging from each wrist.
She had something on her wrist. She gave me a clip that sent me spinning right across the room. She's strong.
A broad contralto is the equal of any man. I mean, especially when she's enraged.
She said she'd ruin me. And then she announced today she would not be coming to the unveiling of the plaque. Dad, the whole hive of bees is after me. I'm going to be stunned to death.
Oh, I think I'll have a drop of that.
I don't think so, Oswald. You know what you were like after 5 glasses of passionate wine last Christmas.
I've got to learn to live with a flourish.
You are not going to be on the home screen, Oswald.
A flourish.
You are not going to be on the television, Oz.
He's deaf with pride.
I'll probably turn out to be like that Gwyn.
Gwyn? What choir did he have?
He was a French painter. Left his family after years of quiet respectability. Then he flared up, went to live in the South Seas, painting right and left and bold as brass with women.
It puts me on edge when I hear you talking like this. At 9 years of age in Sunday school, you won the William Williams Banter-Killing Prize for your essay against drink and carnality. I think you should have died at that moment of happiness.
Oswald, there is not going to be any fame. Cosmo Jocelyn has changed his mind about you. He has opted for the band of girl pipers from Birchtown.
It's Caraddocksley to see Oswald.
Hello, Oz. Hello, Con.
Hello, Crad.
Oz, we held a meeting. What? We held a meeting, Oz. Meeting? The boys in the choir held a meeting.
How can they hold a meeting without Oswald?
Well, the meeting was about Oz. They tipped you the black spot, Oz. You're out. You mean I'm not going to be the conductor anymore? No. They forced the baton back on me. They said with that new style of conducting foisted on you by that Cosmo Jocelyn with you just standing there pointing at them, they didn't know if they were being conducted or accused. No hard feelings, Oz. Well, at the moment there's no feeling at all. But you're still welcome to your old place back in the second row, the second tenors. Thank you, Crad. No, I mean that, Crad. I'd feel safer back there among the boys. I haven't got the bone structure or the build for anything but quietness, really. Do you know, back there in the kitchen, I suddenly started to think about those 80 virgins. What's this now, boy? Oh, a type of young female choir that Cosmo Jocelyn fancied. He wanted me to conduct. Just thinking about it, I dropped 2 cups. Ask Miriam. She'll tell you. 2 cups. And I'm gonna forget about that Swindon thing, too. Very harsh and truculent towards ticket clerks east of Chepstow, they tell me. No, I'll just pat the earth of this little place a little more cosily and tidily around me.
Yes, a tidy grave, that's the best that we can hope for.
Is that the plaque?
Hmm?
Oh. She was a fine woman. Fancy her dying so far away.
Yes, yes. The Lord giveth and the Lord snatcheth away.
Great, rich contralto. She hadn't looked so sad, she'd have been a real Carmen. Fine woman. Like Miriam. Miriam in, is she?
Oh, yes, yes, she's in.
Can I see her?
Well, you're a mature man, Caraddock. You know where the kitchen is.
Oh, I'll come with you, Crad. It's a funny thing. Every time I get an impulse away from the choir work towards a bit of private affection, I get shadowed like a convict. Oh, after you was.
You need some more of this. I've never seen you so far away. Come back to us, Con. But don't worry about Oswald. You saw how he took it, soft and mild as butter.
Ozzy is his own child. The usual Alvin, Wallace, Russell.
Where you may wash and be clean. was expecting a multitude. A crowd of plaque worshippers.
There's been a hitch, a big hitch.
A hitch? An earthquake, more like. Life's a smoking ruin.
Ruin? Hey, hey, you better water that brandy, boy. This is no talk for a town clerk.
Town clerk?
What's that? Sinus trouble again? Or plain schizophrenia?
It's been the night of the long knives, boys. And they've all fallen upon Con. I told him about lust and Mrs. Loomer back way, but he wouldn't listen. He tried to fondle her. She sent him reeling.
There's no head chip for you, Russ.
Oh, that was a nice drop of ale down the Bannerman Club tonight, Wallace. I'm glad I came with you.
There'll be no medical officer's job for you, Wallace.
What sort of wine would you like, Russ?
Oh, a drop of that sweet white, I think.
All right.
That'll put me in the mood to meet the mayor.
They don't hear me. Do you hear me?
Clear as a bell.
Must be the beer. They're full of it. But it'll wear off and then they'll butcher me.
Don't you understand, boys? They've pulled the mat clean from underneath Con. They've left us holding the plaque. They've made a mockery of Mum.
Well, if they find that sort of thing amusing, good luck to them.
You mean you're not angry? You're not upset?
No. All streams don't flow in the same direction, Con. Things haven't been so bad for us today, have they, Russ?
Not bad.
What's up?
This morning, old Doc Edmonds is playing snooker at the club, getting at me for spending too much time with the panel patients and the chronics. So, I gave him a piece of my mind. I told him that when I become medical officer of health, first thing I do, quarantine his mind. He kept playing snooker, didn't say a word. Then he got the full flavour of what I said to him. It's too much for him. He had a stroke. Practice was mine.
Sure, Jeff. Who had a seizure on your behalf, Russell?
Not a seizure, exactly. The Education Committee pondered the risk of an evangelical headmaster, and they've appointed me deputy head to keep the balance.
I'm sorry, Con. I mean that. I heard about the bust up at the banquet here tonight. I know you blame me. My position was simple. If the high-ups wanted a pool of unemployment, we were not going to be the first bloody ducks. Anyway, we've made our point now. We won't be coming out on Monday.
Oh, that's a pity. I was hoping if you stopped the smelting for a day or two, I might be able to get my first clear view of the back row of Form 4B. What happened?
We had a meeting tonight. Colonel Rogerston was there, head of the big steelworks. Dear, he's a stubborn man. He was like a lamb tonight. He said the strike of the Belmont gravediggers made him see the hub of industrial relations for the first time. Very sentimental about death and the dead. He took quite a fancy to me. He asked if I wanted to be the new welfare officer in the big works.
Oh, that's shrewd of the Colonel. That'll shut you up, Almy.
Aye, I suppose it will and all. It'd be nice to be cheerfully corrupt for a change. Fuss about the tea and the towels instead of the political awareness of man. That'd be nice.
I'm glad for you. You've all come in here trailing your bits of glory. I'm glad for you. Glory's something. But for me, I am left with only one of the many things that have buttressed me through the years. The sight of that plaque hanging on the wall of Mum's chapel will be the deathless guarantee that this family cannot and will not be destroyed. You will come with me?
Pleasure, boy.
And the day after tomorrow, I shall start again. A little bruised, my fingers trampled. But I will be ready once again to dedicate all my talents to the nobility and sweetness of that woman, our mother. That'll be the mayor. Mrs. Loomer Barkway. They've changed their minds. Get me some mint for my breath. Quick, clear up. Quick, get these drinks in the cupboard.
Now, I'll go and see.
Oh, it's all right. It's a letter for me. It was delivered to the wrong address.
Ha. And what if they don't come? Slimy mayor, grand imperial bitch, those creeping deacons.
You're on target, Con.
We don't
Take
need
it
them.
easy, boy.
We don't need them. We can stand together. We'll fight together. From this coping stone, we will rebuild and conquer.
You won't, you know.
I'd be glad we chose a wooden one, Con. Very warm to the touch, teak.
What do you say, Miriam?
You won't use that plaque for anything but kindling.
Why not?
Because Mum didn't die in that wreck.
What did you say?
Mum didn't die in that wreck in America. The body they found Mum's handbag on wasn't hers. She walked away from the accident.
Con, do you hear that? What?
Mum didn't die in that accident. She got out of it and kept heading west.
You dare say that in this room? You dare even think that? I've got the cutting from the Belmont bulletin. Picture of the train instead of Mum.
Be quiet, Con. Go on, Miriam.
But if Mum didn't die in that wreck, then why didn't she?
Come back? Because she didn't want to. She went on to California and she met up with a man that she had been in love with before she got married.
No. She's mad. Huh? She's mad, Dad. That Craddock Slee has driven her up the wall.
Well, have some more brandy, Con. Well, well.
Why didn't she come back at all, Miriam?
Because there were certain things of which she had had enough.
What things? What things didn't she want to come back to?
Grange. Dad. With his memorial stones and sad benders. But it was Con that broke her back. He'd taken over the whole family, she said. And in nightmares she could hear him. Talking. So she got up and she just kept on walking. Doesn't it make you feel good that the odd death isn't a death at all? She saw an open door and she walked right through it. I'm glad.
Yes. Glad.
Yes. Glad.
No. And all this is in that letter?
The letter contained only a tiny part of the information. Most of it I knew a year ago. I got a letter from Auntie Gwen. And by God, the information took some keeping to myself.
Why didn't you tell us?
Well, I was waiting for the right moment, the absolute right moment. And it would have been the hanging of the plaque.
She would have given us away with the preacher's blessing still fresh on the plaque.
His words still misty, the teak.
What sort of life did Mum have, Miriam? Was she happy?
Oh, very, yes. Man was a singer. They formed a double act, worked in cabaret, you know, folk songs, ballads, that sort of thing. Well, you remember how good Mum was at those things? Well, they got to be quite famous. And she was happy. She saw an open door and she walked right through it.
I'll raise the rates on those bloody doors if it's the last thing I do. She's not still alive, is she? She's not coming back to Belmont, is she? She wouldn't dare to return to the home she defamed, would she?
No, she isn't, and she wouldn't. She died a fortnight ago. Says so here in the letter. It's from the man. He says he's glad of the chance of sharing Dinah May with us.
Share Dinah May? What a terrible thought.
And us with a plaque, ready for hanging.
We've worked out a wonderful new bass line for the flea as a bird we're all going to sing around the plaque.
And by the way, Caradoc and I are getting married 3 weeks on Monday.
Oh, well, that's fine, Miriam. That'll be something nice to lay on the new grave.
Oh, and just remember, Mick, that's the day of the big concert at the Memorial Hall.
Oh, it's all right, Caradoc. It's only a little thing. We'll fit it in just before the last chorus. Oh. Come on, Caradoc. Let's go out.
I think there's a bit of wildness about Miriam, you know.
Let's go. I've got to see a man about buying some furniture for the surgery.
And I might just catch the tail end of the Youth Education Committee.
That's the stuff. Do a little good on earth and sit down to a nice long pint.
Left the door. How's he? The door is still open.
Why's the room so empty? Where they all gone?
We'll close the door behind us. We're going to go out, and we are going to insult somebody. We're going to be hostile and fractious for the first time.
Why, I don't think so, Con.
Who had the cheek to take me away from sin? That warm, lovely sin. Who was the stupid bastard that took me away from sin? Down west, the women were warm and lovely. I had money in my pocket. The beer was flowing like honey. Where there's a road to revival, where is the path of return? There's no revival. There's no return. I'm on my arse, Dinah May. I'm flat on my perishing arse.